There is a quietness to the INFJ personality that often gets misunderstood. From the outside, INFJs may seem calm, private, and composed. They listen more than they speak. They observe more than they reveal. They carry themselves with a kind of gentle intensity that is hard to define. But beneath that calm surface is a rich and constantly moving inner world. Thoughts connect in complex patterns. Emotions are felt with unusual depth. Meanings are extracted from even the smallest interactions. INFJs rarely explain this internal landscape in full, not because they want to be mysterious, but because it is difficult to translate something so layered into everyday conversation. Still, there are many things INFJs quietly wish people understood about them. Not for attention, not for sympathy, but for connection that feels real. INFJs wish people knew they are not cold, just careful. One of the most common misconceptions about the INFJ personality is that they are distant or hard to get close to. In reality, INFJs feel deeply connected to others, often more than they show. What looks like emotional distance is usually emotional caution. INFJs open up slowly because they experience connection intensely. When they share their inner thoughts and feelings, they are offering something very personal. If that vulnerability is dismissed, misunderstood, or taken lightly, it can feel more painful to them than it might to other personality types. So they pace themselves. They test emotional safety. They watch how someone handles small pieces of honesty before offering larger ones. This is not emotional unavailability. It is emotional selectiveness. INFJs wish people knew that their reserve is not a lack of feeling, but a way of protecting the depth of what they feel. INFJs wish people knew how deeply they feel everything. The INFJ personality is often described as an empath personality for a reason. INFJs absorb emotional atmospheres almost automatically. They notice tension in a room before anyone speaks. They feel shifts in someone's mood even when that person insists they are fine. What they rarely say is how heavy this can be. INFJs do not just understand emotions intellectually. They experience them in their own nervous system. If someone they care about is struggling, INFJs may carry that emotional weight for hours or days. They think about what was said, what was not said, and how they could help. They often downplay this process because they do not want to seem dramatic. But inside, there is a constant flow of emotional data being processed. INFJs wish people knew that when they seem tired or quiet, it may be because they have been carrying more than just their own feelings. INFJs wish people knew their silence is not rejection. When INFJs go quiet, others sometimes assume something is wrong in the relationship. But in INFJ psychology, silence is often a form of restoration. Because they use introverted intuition so heavily, INFJs need uninterrupted mental space to sort through thoughts, impressions, and emotions. Social interaction, especially emotionally intense interaction, can leave them overstimulated. In these moments, INFJs withdraw not to push people away, but to come back to themselves. They need to separate their own inner voice from the many outside influences they have absorbed. They wish people understood that this quiet phase is rarely about losing interest. It is about regaining balance. Pressure to explain themselves while they are still processing can make them retreat further. Patience and gentle reassurance help far more than demands for immediate clarity. INFJs wish people knew how much they overthink. A defining part of the INFJ personality is constant inner analysis. Conversations replay in their mind long after they end. They examine tone, wording, and emotional undercurrents. They imagine future outcomes based on present patterns. This is introverted intuition at work, always searching for meaning and long-term implications. But it can also lead to overthinking, especially in relationships. INFJs may worry that they said too much, or not enough. They may wonder if they misunderstood someone's intentions. They may analyze a short message for hidden emotional signals. From the outside, they may appear calm and composed. Inside, there is often a detailed mental review happening. INFJs wish people knew that reassurance, clarity, and direct communication help quiet this mental noise more than they might realize. INFJs wish people knew they get emotionally burned out easily. Because INFJs are natural listeners and supporters, people often turn to them in times of crisis. INFJs are honored by this trust, but it can slowly lead to emotional burnout. They may spend hours helping someone process pain, offering insight, and holding space for difficult feelings. What they do not always show is how much energy this takes. Unlike some personality types who can detach after offering support, INFJs continue thinking about the person's struggle long afterward. They imagine solutions. They worry. They hope things improve. Over time, this can leave them emotionally drained. INFJs wish people knew that while they care deeply, they also need support, lightness, and emotional reciprocity. They are not meant to be emotional caregivers all the time. INFJs wish people knew their boundaries come from growth, not coldness. When INFJs are younger, they often overextend themselves. They say yes when they want to say no. They absorb emotional burdens that are not theirs to carry. They try to keep everyone comfortable, even at their own expense. With time and self-awareness, many INFJs begin to develop stronger boundaries. They learn to step back from one-sided relationships. They limit how much emotional labor they provide. They protect their time and energy more carefully. To people who knew them before, this can seem like a personality change. Some may even call them distant or selfish. INFJs secretly wish people knew that these boundaries are not a sign of caring less. They are a sign of finally caring for themselves too. Healthy INFJ psychology includes learning that empathy without limits leads to depletion, not connection. INFJs wish people knew they long for depth, not drama. Because INFJs crave meaningful conversations, they can sometimes be mistaken for people who enjoy emotional intensity. In reality, they do not want constant emotional chaos. They want emotional honesty. There is a difference. INFJs feel most at peace in relationships where feelings can be discussed calmly, where vulnerability is met with respect, and where silence is comfortable rather than tense. They are drawn to depth, not turbulence. They wish people understood that their desire to talk about feelings, purpose, and personal growth is not an attempt to make things heavy. It is an attempt to make things real. INFJs wish people knew they often feel different. As a rare personality type, INFJs frequently grow up feeling slightly out of step with their surroundings. They may feel older than their peers in how they think. They may struggle to relate to superficial social norms. They may feel deeply affected by things others seem to brush off easily. This sense of being different can create quiet loneliness. Even when surrounded by people, INFJs may feel that few truly understand how their mind works. They wish people knew how meaningful it is when someone takes the time to understand their inner world. When someone listens without rushing, respects their need for solitude, and values emotional depth, INFJs feel profoundly seen. INFJs wish people knew their kindness has limits. INFJs are often known for their compassion and patience. They give people many chances. They try to understand behavior in context. They believe in growth and redemption. But there is a limit. When someone repeatedly violates their trust, disrespects their boundaries, or manipulates their empathy, INFJs may eventually reach a breaking point. At that stage, they can withdraw completely and without much explanation. This is sometimes called the INFJ door slam in personality discussions. INFJs wish people knew that reaching this point takes a long time and a lot of inner conflict. By the time they pull away, they have usually tried every other emotional solution first. Their withdrawal is not impulsive. It is the result of deep reflection and emotional exhaustion. INFJs wish people knew they are still human. Because INFJs are often the ones offering insight, calm, and emotional support, others may forget that they too feel lost, insecure, or overwhelmed at times. They may be seen as the strong one, the wise one, the emotionally stable one. While INFJs value these roles, they also have moments of doubt. They also need reassurance. They also need someone to ask how they are really doing and wait for the honest answer. INFJs secretly wish people knew that behind their emotional intelligence and intuitive strength is a human being who sometimes feels fragile, confused, or unsure. They do not need to be rescued, but they do need to be met with the same care they so freely give. The quiet heart of the INFJ personality. At its core, the INFJ personality is driven by a desire for authenticity, understanding, and meaningful connection. They are not trying to be mysterious. They are trying to be genuine in a world that often rewards performance over truth. What INFJs secretly wish people knew is simple, though it lives in many layers. Their quietness is not emptiness. Their depth is not darkness. Their boundaries are not rejection. Their sensitivity is not weakness. It is simply the natural expression of a mind and heart that process the world with unusual care. When people begin to understand this, relationships with INFJs become less confusing and more rewarding. The silence becomes comfortable. The conversations become transformative. The connection becomes something rare and steady. And for the INFJ, feeling understood even in small ways can mean more than they ever fully put into words.